Welcome everyone that's here. We're just going to give a minute for everyone to come in and get settled. My name is Nikki Davidson. I am from Baltimore, Maryland. I am a booze photographer and cocktail blogger. Basically, I work with brands and restaurants taking photographs of cocktails, not just cocktails, but also food. I also develop recipes for brands. I have worked with some of the more notable brands I've worked with were Absolute, Bombay Sapphire, recently Alizé. I also do social media management for local bars and restaurants. So I wear a lot of hats. Recently, I unfortunately, because of the environment with the bars and restaurants, that line of work has kind of diminished. But still hanging in there, still making some cocktails. And also, in addition to that, I'm also a mom of a 3-year-old. So that juggling all of that and making cocktails is probably why I drink cocktails. But so that's a little bit about me. I'm just going to go ahead and start us off, and I'm going to take us on a little bit of a holiday. We are going to start off with a Spanish style drink. Now, first of all of the drinks I'm going to teach you here today are very simple. I don't think there's any cocktail here that's more than 4 ingredients, and most of them only contain 1 spirit. I think actually all of them only contain 1 spirit. So there is nothing here today that you won't be able to make if this is your first time making cocktails at home. So we're going to look to Spain and get inspired with the gin and tonic. Now, you're probably thinking, does Spain and the gin and tonic have anything to do with each other? So Spain is actually one of the biggest consumers of gin, and they're really known for their gin bars. Think wall-to-wall different types of gins from around the world. And one of the drinks that they're also known for is a gin tonic. There's no and in the middle, it's just gin tonic. Now, what's really special about their gin tonics as opposed to ours is that they're very beautiful. They have a lot of herbs. They use a lot of fruits, juices. So we're going to start off here. I have 2 ice-filled wine goblets. And the reason why we're using wine goblets is because of the shape. So the bulbous shape kind of funnels all the herbs and the spices and hits your nose, makes for a really pleasing first sip. So where is my sugar? There we go. So I'm going to put 2 ounces. I'm using London Dry gin here. Into each goblet. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to make 2 different variations. So the first variation is going to be fairly simple, much like your traditional gin and tonic. Now we're going to do a couple of basil leaves and a couple of lemon wheels in here. Now, I did my research on what flavors go well with the gin, so I didn't just randomly pick flavors. When you're working with a London Dry, like lemon flavors, herbs, this is really going to be a great combination. In the second one, we're going to get a little bit more, I don't know, flavorful. And we're going to do 2 ounces of pomegranate juice. And then I'm going to do some mint leaves in this one. And let's put some lime in here. And then we're going to take a bar spoon, stir it just a little. And then I'm going to top it with, my favorite tonic water is Fever Tree. And we're actually using the Mediterranean flavor, which is appropriate. And so we're going to top it with some tonic. There we go. And then maybe add just a little bit more ice. And then just going to give it a little happy little garnish over here. Some mint. And then some more basil. And there you have it. So we have a basil and lemon gin tonic, and then a pomegranate with mint and lime gin tonic. And so both of these make you feel like, you know, you sit on the patio, you sip, you feel like you're on vacation. So that first one was really easy. That was really simple. Now, the second one is also really simple, but we're going to infuse some vodka. And I have a little bit of watermelon there, watermelon infused vodka. So the way I made this is I just took half of a watermelon, cut it up, put it in a container. Then I topped it off with vodka, your favorite vodka. I wouldn't use anything too expensive. I think I used vodka 6100 for this one. It's really good price point, and it's not, I'm not a big vodka drinker, and that's one of my favorite vodkas. So if I'm suggesting it to you, it's good. So I'm going to top that watermelon off with about just above the top of the watermelon, and I'm just going to let that sit in a container for like 2 to 3 days, shake it occasionally, taste it. If you decide that you want to try the watermelon afterwards, just be prepared. It is like taking a shot. So I don't really suggest that. But as you can see, the watermelon vodka has very nice color. It's got a little bit of sweetness. So when I make this next drink, I'm not going to use as much sugar. So we're going to make a watermelon gimlet. Gimlet, however you want to pronounce it. Okay, so where is my coupe glass? So we are going to do, start off with some ice in the glass. We're going to start off with 2 ounces of our watermelon vodka. And we're going to do a half an ounce of lime juice. And a half an ounce. You can probably do a little bit less than a half an ounce, depending on how sweet you like your drinks. I'm not really a sweet drinker. And then we're going to shake this. We're going to strain into our coupe glass here. I'm going to garnish this with the lime wheel. Just let that float on top there. Sometimes it floats. Oh, it's going to float. Okay. And so that is our watermelon gimlet. Yeah, I think I only infused this for about a day, and it was good enough. I had a F Club soda and ice. It was really good. So I think I might be enjoying that for a while. Okay, so next up, we are going to have a drink that's really refreshing. It's probably, usually I don't have this drink this time of year, but because I discovered this recipe and I thought I have to share it with you, we are going to have a peach tea julep. And I do not have my julep cup today because I want you guys to see like the buildup in glass. So we're going to start off with, well, we're going to use peach tea syrup. It's handmade. And I'm going to actually show you how to make simple syrup. So in here I have about, I'm going to say a half cup of sugar in this bottle. I'm going to take about equal parts of iced tea, iced peach tea. Okay, let's put the top on here. You really get like a good arm workout when you make cocktails. And we're just going to shake this. And you're going to shake it for about a minute. I'm not going to sit here and shake this entirely, but you're going to shake this for about a minute. It's going to get cloudy, and you're going to just let it sit, and then it'll be clear like this. And so that way you always can have simple syrup on hand if you just decide to have, you know, a cocktail night one night. You don't have to actually go to the store and buy simple syrup. I actually didn't know that they sold simple syrup in the store until one day someone asked me, and it's like, huh? Why wouldn't you just make it at home? But that's why we have these classes, so now that you know. So what we're going to do to make our julep, we are going to do so someone said, so a half cup sugar and a half peach tea. I just caught this question. Basically, yeah, whatever equal part you want to do for your simple syrup. I only do small batches because it's just me and my husband, and my husband usually drinks beer. So if I'm the only one drinking it, I'm just gonna make just a small batch. But I'm gonna try not to get distracted by the questions. We're gonna hold them off to the end. So I have a ½ ounce of peach tea syrup in here. And then I'm going to get some mint and a few mint leaves in there. And we're going to muddle these. We're not going to press too hard. I'm just kind of gently pressing and kind of twisting. Because you can over muddle. And that stem part, you want to make sure you remove the mint completely from the stem, because that stem part actually has a really bitter taste. All right, so that's good enough. And then we have our bourbon. And we're going to do 2 ounces. Of bourbon. And the bourbon that I'm using, this is probably one of the cheapest bourbons out there, is Evan Williams, and it stays on our bar. Excuse me. It stays on our bar because even though it's a low price point, it's really good. And in these times when we're trying to save money, I highly suggest this. I was a bit of a snob at first, but then after I tried it, it's like, oh, you know, I probably couldn't tell the difference between some of the higher end bourbons and that one. Okay, so then I have some crushed ice here. Try not to make too much of a mess here. I'm just going to stir this just a little bit. Just top the rest of the ice. Crushed ice all over the place. Okay, then we're going to garnish this with some mint here. And just to give you a tip, storing, so this is all store-bought herbs. I recently learned the way that I store my herbs in the refrigerator is I put them in little jars, fill it up halfway, like halfway over the tips of the herbs with water, and then put a plastic sandwich bag over top of the herbs and the jar. I tie a rubber band on it just so that the plastic bag, that someone doesn't accidentally pick up the plastic bag and the herbs go everywhere. But I found that I was able to keep mint in the fridge for up to like 2 weeks, which is crazy. Usually it's only a couple of days and then it starts to really wilt. Okay, then I'm gonna garnish this with, I'm gonna give it a little bit more mint here. If you follow me online, you know I'm all about the garnish. Okay, see, if this was in my studio, I would obsess over this, and I'm not gonna do that. All right, so that was our peach tea gimlet. I'm actually going through these drinks faster than I thought I would. I think because usually I'm also stopping and taking photos that like, oh, it takes me forever to get through the drinks. But when I'm not actually having to stop and take photos, adjust lighting, it actually goes pretty quickly. So actually my next drink here is actually my new favorite nightcap. And I recently just, sometimes as an influencer, you will get random gifts just show up, and it's kind of a little bit of creepy because it's like, how did you get my address? So I actually just recently got a shipment of chocolate vodka. This is 8-ball chocolate vodka. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit like, I'm not gonna drink chocolate vodka. Like, that's not vodka. I said vodka, but this is whiskey, chocolate whiskey. But I kind of turned up my nose at it at first, but then I tasted it and like, oh, this is actually really good. And as you can see, more than half the bottle is gone. So I have been enjoying chocolate old fashions before bed. After my daughter and husband go to bed, and then I sit down and plan out the next day, make myself a chocolate old fashioned, and then call it the night. So we have chocolate whiskey and bourbon. It is a little sweet. It's a little sweet for me. So we're going to cut this with bourbon and kind of bring the sweetness down. And I'm not going to add any additional sugar. I'm also, a lot of times with old fashions, you might see people muddle the orange and the cherries, and I'm not really a fan of that. Sometimes I feel like when you're drinking it, the orange and the cherries kind of get in the way. But if you wanted to add that to this, the cherry and the orange would go great as far as complementing the chocolate. And then we're also going to have, we have orange bitters here. So I'm going to move some stuff out of the way. Okay, so, and get my rocks glass here. And my mixing glass. All right, so in my mixing glass, I'm going to add some ice. I tried using the ice tongs, as you saw, and that did not work out, so we're just using our hand here. Okay, so we're going to do 1.5 ounces of chocolate. And then we're going to do about 1/2 ounce of the regular bourbon. And I'm just going to, just a little bit more. It was a rough day. Not really, but Then we're going to do about 2 dashes of the orange bitters. And we're going to stir this up. And before I pour that in there, before I forget, I'm going to add an ice ball. Now, this, I'm pretty sure I got these little ice ball molds from Amazon. I have so many of them, and sometimes my daughter likes to play with them like they're actual balls. So I've had to get more. But these were fairly cheap, and you see the hole in the top. You just run these under the tap water, fill it up, and put it in the freezer. And it's fairly easy to get the ice ball out. And then we're going to strain that over. And we are going to garnish that with an orange twist. Twist that over and express those oils, get the rim. There you go. And that is a chocolate old fashioned. I'm actually going to have a sip of that. Okay, so that is our lineup for this evening. Chocolate old fashioned. We got a peach julep, and I actually forgot my peach garnish. I had some sliced peach over here. I forgot to add a watermelon gimlet, and then our 2 Spanish style gin tonics. Okay, so I guess we are going to open up the floor for questions. Let's see. Are there some fruits that are better than others to infuse? Well, I wouldn't infuse with banana. That wouldn't be a good idea, but I think berries. I love infused strawberries, blueberries. I actually make a pink lemonade with blueberry infused vodka and lemonade. Just mash the blueberries and store them with some vodka, and the same process. Shake it up, taste it every few days. Yeah, I mainly just stick with berries and like watermelon, pineapple. Did you have to go to bartending school? No, I just hung out at a lot of bars. No, I used to. So I do not like crowds, but I love going to the bar. So I would go to the bar very early, and then there would be no one else there. And the bartenders and I would just start chatting, and I just watched them and kind of absorbed and became obsessed with this. So everything that I know about cocktails is self-taught and what other local bartenders have taught me. A question from earlier. A half of watermelon is pretty large, so does it take more than a bottle of vodka to have it immersed? No. So the watermelon that I use, I guess you can say it's a small watermelon. Small watermelon is about that big. So half of that watermelon took up an entire bottle of vodka. You don't have to be exact with this, just keep tasting it. If you feel like I need to add some more watermelon to that, fine. But there's not really a science to it. You just kind of just do it to taste. Let's see. What are some essentials to have at home to have a respectable cocktail bar at home? Respectable, like to whom? The things that you like. I used to have like this huge bar with all of these spirits that I never drank, and and I kind of just like, what, I'm just gonna dwindle it down to my favorites. And if you're a vodka drinker, I would just learn basically like 5 cocktail drinks based with vodka and do those really well. So if you have company coming over, you can impress them just with those drinks. I don't think that you have to have like, you don't have to have like the fancy mixing glasses. You can just, here, I just use a Pilsner glass to shake my cocktails. You know, it really is about just having fun and the flavors. I love them all. That whiskey, chocolate whiskey sounds really good. It's really good and it's really dangerous. What would you consider the most versatile liquors to have if you only are going to have one or two on hand? So for me, whiskey. I'm a whiskey drinker. There has to be whiskey here, and my husband's a vodka drinker. So occasionally we'll invite gin in. I love gin. I know a lot of people are not big gin connoisseurs. You know, a lot of people say it tastes like Christmas trees. There is a brand of gin that I tried to get, but my my local liquor store didn't have it. It's called Bar Hill Gin. So if you're not a drinker, check out Bar Hill. It's really good. I've converted so many people to drinking gin with that brand. Do you take the rind off first, so more of the watermelon? Yes, yeah. You definitely take the rind off first, and just kind of like if you were serving it. You know, so cut it up the same way, you know, gut it same way if you were serving it, and store it that way. You definitely don't want the rind in. I should have included that. So thanks for asking. Um, I think that's it. Okay, that is it. Thank you everyone for joining me today.